Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about undercoating. What it is, why you should do it, especially if you live in the Rust Belt, and then how to apply it. So stay tuned. So how do we prevent rust? If we live in the Rust Belt and they bombard salt on the roads like they do here in Michigan, how do you stop it from destroying your vehicle, right? There's a pretty simple solution. Oil, okay? Oil, which is exactly what this is, will prevent your vehicle from rusting. Now this is a special kind of oil called lanolin. And what lanolin does is it actually binds to metal so that water cannot protrude into the metal. I'm not going to really talk about the science behind that or how it works in this video. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that do go into detail about the actual science behind it. And if you want to know more about that, you can just search them. But the idea is coat the underside of the vehicle, hence undercoating, and it'll last a lot longer, right? The body won't rot away, the frame won't rust, it won't crack, and you won't have issues. So I like to use fluidfilm. That's the brand of undercoating that I like to use, and there's a couple different examples of it here. This is the clear fluid film. So say you have a vehicle that has a wax frame, like GM full-size trucks. If that wax has started to degrade or has fallen off the frames, then if you spray this on it, it's gonna still look rusty, okay? I really like the fluid film black. It's the same formula, but it has black dye in it. So the black dye kind of brings that part back to life. You know, if you're spraying frames with this that are rusty, it'll bring that nice black finish back to that frame. Now, fluid film's sold in quite a few different configurations, right, as far as sizing goes. They have the spray cans of it, right, and these are about 10 bucks each, right, as of the day of the video, 2023. You can also buy 1 gallon containers of it. Those cost about $50. And then a 5 gallon container like this is around $200. So if you're doing bulk vehicles, obviously it makes sense to buy more because it gets cheaper as you buy more of it. Now for how actually to apply it, you could buy something like this. This is a $50 undercoating gun that I picked up on Amazon, and it's got a couple little attachments to it. It has a standard nozzle that comes on it, and then there's 2 hoses, right? One that is just an extension of the nozzle, it's just round at the end, and this is nice for getting up into tight spots that you normally wouldn't be able to get to if you just sprayed with this. You know, say between the fuel tank and the bed if you're talking about a pickup. That's nice to spray up in between there. And then this one, as you can see, it has not only a nozzle on the end of it, but it has the nozzles on the side too. And this is nice for getting inside the frame, inside body panels like rockers or cab corners if there's access points. Most OEMs nowadays have points of access that have little covers that you can pop off, and that's exactly what this is great for. Sticking up there, spraying in those holes, right? It's multi-directional, and it will spray a lot of coverage inside panels. Now, as far as safety equipment or safety gear that you're going to want to wear when you're doing this, as you can see, like my jeans, these are painting, undercoating, work jeans. I'm not wearing anything nice. You're going to want to wear safety glasses. It's oil, it's pretty safe stuff. You don't want it in your eyes, either way. And if your vehicle's rusty, then you're gonna wanna wear these so you don't get rust in your eyes. And anyone that's worked on something that's rusty knows that's horrible. You're gonna want some gloves, right? These are just black nitrile. You're gonna want coverall. Coverall is going to protect your clothes, even if they're crappy like these ones are, but it's also going to stop your clothes from smelling, okay? I've seen quite a few videos of guys talking about lanolin and fluid film, and they say, you know, oh yeah, this stuff has, you know, kind of a mild odor to it. No, it stinks. It stinks pretty bad. So expect to smell bad after you apply it, but your vehicle is also going to smell bad probably for a month after you put it on. So just be aware of that expectation, right? There's not a whole lot you can do about the smell, but me personally, I'd rather have ruined clothes or a truck that smells versus having rust. So let's get undercoating. If you look at the consistency of this, it looks like really thick paint or tar. It doesn't pour great. If it's warmer out, it's a little thinner. It's got a little bit better viscosity, more usable. But a day like today, it's about 50 degrees out. It's definitely going to be thick. Now, this truck is in pretty good shape. It came a little further down south. It's from Ohio originally, but you can see the frame's still starting to get rust on it, right? If you look underneath of it, there's a little bit of rust on the torsion bars. No, I did not put those keys in. I just haven't taken them out yet. There's a little rust on some cross members, right? The frame overall is not too bad, but you can see there's that coating that's peeling off right there, that GM wax coating. So we're gonna completely saturate the whole bottom side of this thing. And just clean it up really nice like. Right, it's got a little dirt on it. Should be okay. I washed it yesterday. You're gonna wanna get that off as much as you can, because if you spray this stuff on dirt, what happens is when the dirt falls off, so does the undercoating.
rusty this is underneath the spare tire. This cross motor is completely hammered. Sorry about the sun. It's pretty decent underneath here. Looks like there's a little spot in the frame rail that needs a little more right there. But it's not bad. It's really not. That's a reflection of the jack stand. Yeah, there, front. I'd say it turned out pretty good. You know, got a little overspray on the exhaust. That'll burn off. It's not going to smell good, but sometimes that's what you got to do to get this full coverage like this. You can see, I mean, it just looks great. In the video, you know, it looks like it's maybe kind of like an eggshell finish, right? More of a satin. It's more shiny, I would say, in real life. Let's see if, there you go. That's really what it looks like. It's not really satin, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I was happy with the black. I've done a couple vehicles in it, and that's probably all I'm ever going to buy. And if you look right here, you can see this one's got a bunch in a rocker, right? Obviously both sides. OEMs know that the rockers are an issue. There's a few reviews on this gun, but there's a couple things I want to point out. Okay, when you got the attachment on here like this, you can just pull that thing off. So I'd suggest putting a small worm clamp on that, you know, hose clamp. Maybe even a zip tie would probably hold it in place. Something I didn't see anywhere, I saw that in a couple videos online, is that the trigger, if you look at the little pintle, if you side load this and squeeze it, it doesn't do anything, right? So as you can see, this thing's trashed, it's completely coated. So when you're underneath the truck and trying to spray this, as this thing's slipping in your hands, you're gonna do that a lot. So you can see kind of throughout the video, there's a lot of times where I'm holding it with both hands. That's because I'm not using this hand to hold the weight of the gun and squeeze the trigger. I'm holding the weight up with this so I can spray it you know, nice and square when I squeeze that trigger. As you can see, from the outside, the frame looks pretty good. Now let's go back underneath the truck real quick. Look at it, kind of as a whole. So everything that I could do, that needed to get done, I did. Right, you can see, that's from me touching it. That's what it looks like when you touch it. See, the oil's still on there, it's just not as black. But I did the entire floor of the truck. The entire floor of the cab got done. Now, in those little spots up here, like above the transmission and transfer case, I used that little wand and I sprayed it. When you spray that, sometimes it looks like that. It doesn't go on as heavy or as thick as it will from a gun. Yeah, just a straight nozzle, right? But it's still on it, and I coated it well. So everything got done. I did all the brake lines, I did the fuel lines, the fuel cooler. I try not to saturate it because it is a heat exchanger and I don't want it to get plugged up, but I did it all. Okay, I did above the fuel tank. I did as best as I could get, at least above the transmission. I went and I put the nozzle underneath that heat shield that's right there. And I did all of that. I did all the front suspension. I did the radiator core support. I did the calipers, the backing plates, right? This stuff all rusts. Same with the front diff cover, the rear diff cover. That stuff rusts and rots away. Sitting right now for cleanup. Acetone's the best. You can probably use paint thinner. Acetone's a little harsher, works a little faster.
Okay guys, we're done undercoating the truck. So I wanted to give a couple key takeaways. First thing, it makes a mess, okay? Usually when I do these, I put a tarp underneath the truck. But when I drag my jack over the tarp on my asphalt, because my driveway is so uneven and it's so rocky, it tears the tarp up. So I decided to not put the tarp down this time. If you have a little refill station like I had with that cardboard box, where you're gonna refill the hopper from that bucket, that's probably 90% of the mess that you can contain. Being outside, right? I don't have a shop, right? I got a 2.5 car garage here that I'm working out of, right? Just a normal dude. So since I don't have a shop and a controlled environment to spray this in, wind is going to be a big factor, right? So try to pick a day where the wind is calmer, right? If you can look ahead at the forecast, hopefully you can pick the right one, but it's a big factor. So if you can keep the wind down, maybe even block it off, right? If you want to put up some visqueen or tarp something else. If you can block the wind off, you'll be much better off, right? As you can see, I am completely covered in the stuff. Between filling the bottle up, the hopper, excuse me, the gun, and just the actual process of undercoating it itself, right? You're gonna be getting up into tight spots. It's gonna rub on you. You're gonna be touching it. So plan your day accordingly. Make sure you don't have anything to do. Make sure you can work uninterrupted while you're doing this kind of work. All right, that's the biggest thing. Cover a lot. It's your own personal vehicle, cover a lot. If you're doing it on a customer's car, I would say get a process down where you know how much material you're going to use and make sure that you apply in the right places, right? Trouble spots, I would call them. Now for tools, we talked a little bit in the beginning of the video about what we're going to need to undercoat, right? We talked about, okay, we've got our actual undercoating product, whatever that is that you pick. We've got our gun, we've got a suit and PPE and whatever else, but I did use a couple other tools. Obviously, and I didn't talk about this in the beginning, you need an air compressor and a hose that's long enough to reach the vehicle, right? My air compressor's in the back part of my garage, so I've got a 25 and a 50-foot hose if I want to reach out to the driveway. Now, I use a couple other things too, right? The funnel I use to fill, jack stands. I pull the front of the truck up on ramps. It's fast and easy, and then jack the back up. And it's probably good to jack the back up instead of having the back on ramps, or if you're going to put jacks underneath the back, jack stands underneath the back of the truck, I would recommend putting them on the frame, not the rear axle, because you want that axle to droop as far as you can so you can get in there and have that space. Couple picks, couple screwdrivers to pop those plugs out, and that's literally it. So the most basic amount of tools you could ever use, I think, for doing a job, especially one that's this big. Now I want to show you guys this suit I bought. This is a $10 Home Depot special, $13 or something like that. HDX coverall, okay? Probably hard to see. My arms are completely covered in lanolin. They got oil all over them, right? And it's because the arm, obviously, I'm up in the truck, I'm working, they're gonna touch the most. So if you're concerned about getting this stuff on your skin, you're gonna wanna buy a higher quality coverall, right? Go buy a Tyvek suit. I think they're like around $30. They're still very cheap. But go buy a Tyvek suit. It'll probably block a lot more than a suit like this will. This almost feels like cotton. But it's not gonna stop the majority of that from penetrating it. Undercoating the truck took me about 2.5 hours. It's a very quick job. I found a lot of rust on it. They get rusty fast. So the sooner you can do this, the better off you're gonna be. It's a pretty simple process, guys. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. So don't be nervous about going out and doing a job like this. If it takes you 4 hours the first time you do it, like my first time doing this did, right? I've done this a couple times, so it gets faster as you go. Don't shy away from it. It's okay, it's just 4 hours. It's a quick little half day's worth of work. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just gotta get it done. I'll see you guys in the next video.